pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act statement, clause, please.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was forwarded to the official township newspapers, posted on the bulletin board and township website on January 8th, 2022.
Roll call.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mr. Deegan?
Here.
Mrs. Peschwalson? Here. Mrs. Blaine?
Here.
Mayor Bruno?
Here. All right, we're going to move right into this. Can I get a motion to approve R-7822, appointing Lieutenant Matt DeCesari to the position of Deputy Chief for the Township, Franklin Township Police Department?
Be glad to make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deegan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peschwalson?
Yes.
Mrs. Blaine?
Unfortunately, my answers to my questions were not resolved, so I have to vote no.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Brian? Please.
Good evening. Give you a little background on Mr. DeCesari. Matt DeCesari was born and raised in Franklin Township. He graduated from Delsey High School in 1998, went on to play college baseball at York College of Pennsylvania, and graduated in 2002 with a degree in marketing and management. After graduating college, he was hired by Franklin Township in 2003 and attended the Gloucester County Police Academy SLEO 2, class number 16. Matt graduated at the top of his class and was presented with the Director's Award. Matt began his career with Franklin Township Police Department on Memorial Day in 2004 as a SLEO 2. He was hired as a full-time officer in October 2004 and was assigned to the Patrol Division. Matt was named the Franklin Township Police Officer of the Year in 2006 and also received multiple service awards during his time as a patrolman. Matt has also been honored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving as a Top Gun recipient 3 times during his career. Matt helped start Franklin Township Police Youth Week and also organized a golf outing for many years in honor of Sergeant Lee Gonzalez. A highlight of Matt's career has been riding in the Police Unity Tour, which is an annual bike ride from South Jersey to Washington, D.C. in honor of officers that have lost their lives in the line of duty. Matt was assigned to the Detective Bureau in 2011, where he worked many high-profile cases that resulted in lengthy convictions. One of his greatest accomplishments as a detective was working on a multi-state burglary ring and was responsible for over 100 burglaries and home invasions in New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania over the course of a year. The case involved multiple municipal, state, and federal agencies across Delaware Valley and resulted in a 25-year prison sentence for both suspects. Matt was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2013, where he supervised a patrol shift. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2016 and was named the Detective Division Supervisor. Matt is also the Emergency Management Coordinator for Franklin Township. He has supervised multiple large-scale operations to include protests, homicide investigations, COVID recovery, and storm preparation. Matt recently assisted the Gloucester County Prosecutor's Office with planning a large-scale child abduction drill to test the procedures of law enforcement use when dealing with missing or abducted children. The Gloucester County Child Abduction Response Team is seeking to become the first certified CART team in the state of New Jersey and only the 29th team in the country. Matt dedicates all of his spare time to the youth of our community. For the past 3 seasons, he has volunteered as the assistant varsity baseball coach for Delsey High School. Matt is also a member of the Franklin Township Little League Board of Directors since 2015 and runs a youth travel baseball organization in Franklin Township since 2017. Matt resides in Franklin Township with his wife Nina and 3 children, Matthew, Dominic, and Anna. Come on up. You want to have your family?
Have your family come up looking at it?
You guys want to come too?
So you're going to put your left hand on the Bible, with your wife left hand on the Bible, so maybe your wife wants to come on this side of you. Okay, if you would hold the Bible for him. He can put his left hand on it, raise your right. Come on in, guys. Okay. You all set?
Yes.
I, Matthew DeCesari,
I, Matthew DeCesari,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the Chief of Police
all the duties of the Deputy Chief of Police.
See, I wanted to see if you were catching, with me here, okay? Of the Franklin Township Police Department,
Of the Franklin Township Police Department,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Chief. Kind of a little overwhelmed with all the amount of people that are here tonight. It really means a lot to me for all of you to show up and show support for me. My family, first of all, I want to thank my family, my wife, and my 3 kids. Thank you for all the support you give me. I know I'm not always the easiest person to deal with in the world, but I couldn't do this without you. I want to thank my mom and dad, my sister, my niece, my mother and father-in-law for being here, my many friends and extended family. My baseball teams are here. And that means a lot to me. And I want to thank the gentlemen and ladies that are in uniform and standing against the wall over there. I promise you that I will work as hard as I possibly can, and we're going to work together to make this the best department around. I want to thank the community for coming out, and I also make that promise to you that I will outwork everyone to make sure that this community is safe and that we protect everyone in the 3 towns that we serve. I want to thank Mayor Bruno and the Township Committee for giving me this opportunity. And I want to thank Chief Zimmer for his professionalism and leading the path as he goes off into retirement and leaving us in a good place. So, thank you.
We're going to take a break for about 10 minutes, clear out the room. Mary said we might. Barbie, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Take a motion to open the first public portions for resolutions and ordinances below.
I make a motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi, Leah Vasallo, 560 Delsey Drive in Malaga. I was just curious who's responsible for writing the ordinances and resolutions? Like who drafts them?
It's a collective effort, Mayor.
Collective effort of,
Depends what it's about.
okay, because there's just a lot of errors, like obvious errors that I think, I don't know if you've had a chance to review them, but it's almost like embarrassing, and I don't mean it to be critical, but it's to the point where, like, you have a contract for a conflict public defender that, well, first it's retroactive to January 1st, 2022. Your authorizing resolution says you're authorized to make a contract with, and it's blank because the resolution says any lawyer who's a public defender anywhere in this, county, or then it says that, they're appointed for a 1-year term to represent the township. Well, that's not what a public defender does. You refer to a woman as he. You say that they're a local representative of the township, which they're not. You then refer to him as the conflict prosecutor instead of public defender. Again, he instead of she. And you say that the salary is as set forth in the salary ordinance of the Township of Franklin. There is nothing in the salary ordinance in the Township of Franklin that has a salary for a prosecutor or for a conflict public defender. So my question is, what are you paying this person?
Matt?
Mayor, I'll have to, my suggestion would be to table this, and I can give you an answer on that. This was brought to our attention at the end of the week, and I'll have to confirm that so that we can clear that up. So there's no confusion.
And again, it's the same thing with the one for the assistant prosecutor. You know, their job isn't to advance the interest of the township. They're not a local representative of the township. And it says their salaries as set forth in the salary ordinance, but the salary ordinance for conflict prosecutor is $200 to $1,000 per day, which is a
Yeah, Mayor, these have been
huge
used
difference.
over and over again, so I'll rewrite them. So they've been used historically. I'll clean them up and resubmit them.
And-
Appreciate the comment.
Yeah, and it's not to be rude or anything. I just don't want you to enter into a contract that says something that completely
I
contradicts.
appreciate the comment.
the
But
position.
again, they've been used historically for years, and I'll clean them up and customize them.
And then the last one is just a curiosity with the Gina Hayes as the HR coordinator. Is that like a contract position, or is that a permanent position that you have someone on staff as HR coordinator?
Someone on staff.
Okay, so she comes in a certain amount of hours
She's
each
here
week?
already. It's just another.
It's additional duties for an employee who's already here.
Okay, what's her current role?
She's in the finance office.
Okay, so it's no set time, it's just an additional stipend and,
Her hours, I believe, are laid out in the contract, right?
She's a full-time employee.
okay, and this is just an additional pay to also do HR duties? Okay, thank you.
Hi, good evening. Cindy Merckx, 330 Oak Avenue, Malaga. I have, my first question is on your resolution, and it is the resolution 84-22 to approve a contract with CME regarding water filtration system on Meredith Farms. And I believe it's in the amount of $761,000.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a reason we're putting out that kind of money for
If you
a
wait
system
around-
there?
If you wait around, there's a good possibility we won't be putting out that kind of money.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
Wait around.
Well, I mean, normally, like I said, when you asked the question, that's why I was asking about it, so.
Well, we discussed it, and we're going to take a vote on it, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay. I mean, at this point, I didn't hear anything, all these, the other meetings, and I didn't see anything regarding we were going to, resurrect Meredith Farms again, so to
Well-
speak. I know we had wells and the wells collapsed, and we've spent a lot of money out there, and it's a lot with, that $761,000 when we have other needs, as you know, everything from line painting to picking up leaves and all the other things that go in between.
761,000 won't even get water, that's just. for-
No, and that's,
Yeah, just to
and,
be clear, that's just a design.
yeah, it's just a design,
Design
and that's what I'm
system.
saying, it's just, I just, at this time, it's like I said, I understand everybody, wants to have some, but wait, a lot of people are really suffering right now, and I mean, I just don't know that it's the timing, I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just trying to, that's just so much money. And, I mean, I know there's grants and all that kind of stuff that sometimes come flying in our lap, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. So, not that kind. And it's a lot. I mean, no offense, but, when I go to other towns, their engineers are always sitting here, by there. I never see our engineer here. And they should be, because in all other towns,
Township meeting?
yes, there are township committee meetings in every single town. That engineer has to be here, and he has to tell all his projects to all of you. And that goes on, whether it's Clayton, whether it's New, even Little Newfield, they do that. So I'm just, letting you know, he wants a lot of money, and I don't think we're that, like I said, so that was just one thing. I got questions on these introduction to both of these ordinances, but with the solar and everything, I like that, a couple things that are in it, and there's a couple things that I'm kind of concerned about. So I don't know if there's going to be any discussion on it by the Township Committee, or are we just going with what exactly we have in this ordinance? And is there a reason we decided to put solar on the block right now? Because we just had an application in front of our zoning board, and then it just seems like it's right after that. You know what I'm saying? In other words, this came in right before it, and then it comes afterwards. Then I see, the interchange. And I happen to live down in the interchange. I've lived there for 42 years. It's like a speedway. It's a mess. When Mr. Fazio decided to clear that land, and he took every bit of those trees out of there and said he was going to be a farmer. Now my concern is he going to eventually turn it all into solar and all that? And and according to your ordinance, he really shouldn't be able to take all those trees in that forest. But there's another section that Mr. Brandt sold to Mr. Fazio. And it's right behind Mr. Morris's house. And it's a big lot of ground. And is he going to just clear it and say, oh, well, for 5 years, I'm going to be a farmer? And he just plants corn once, doesn't take care of it, and it does have my concerns. Because, like I said, it's it's either it's woodlands in this township to keep it rural, or it's beautiful farmland. And I do have concerns with it. So I know I'm only one person, but I love this town. I raised my kids here like all of us have. And I just want to, I don't want us to rush on something that maybe we don't have to. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Good evening. I also had questions about Meredith Farms. What is the status of the existing wells? Have we replaced any of them? Are any of them operable?
Nope.
Okay, so we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, building a filtration system when we don't even have an operable
That's
well?
not building, that's designing.
Well, designing a filtration system.
That build, it's about $6 million, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's what we said.
And how much really would the property be worth if you sold it?
Probably whatever the filtration system's worth.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like we're going to make out on this one. Sounds like the money pit. Yeah, I mean, I did have concerns years ago before, when just one of the wells had failed, and I brought them up to an EDC meeting, and I said, well, these are old wells. I'm not sure how old. They might be as old as I am, which is pretty old. And, what's to stop more of them from failing? And, if we're relying on this ancient infrastructure that we can't depend on, it just seemed like a bad idea back then. Plus if they're still planning on running the system, the township, that's a really difficult thing to run properly. You have to continually pump money into upgrading the system all the time. Otherwise, the system will drain your resources rather than be something that gets you a profit in the end.
At the end of the day, that will be the most expensive gallon of water probably in all of this state.
Yeah, it's too bad,
The issue's not the wells, it's the quality of the water.
Is it? Okay.
So the wells aren't a big expense. The problem is the water that you pump out of those wells or new wells has issues. That's why we
Okay.
asked what the cost would be.
And what contaminants were found?
Radionuclide?
Radii, nuclear.
Doesn't sound like a lot of chemicals.
Okay, yeah, that basically a water softener would take care of radium 220, I think it's 226 and 227. It's pretty common, and it would have to be an awfully big system though in order to take care of that, because you're talking about a water use that needs an actual diversion permit, like a farm does.
The water that comes out of the ground there right now has to be cleaned before you're allowed to put it into the sewer system.
Okay.
They won't even take the water in the condition it's in.
And what kind of condition is the sewer system before
Sewer
you hook?
system's fine.
Okay, so you have pumps and grinders and stuff, and they are operable?
it's a, it's,
Consider optimal.
yeah, but, I mean, it's installed, it's
It's there.
It's there,
Right.
and the design of it is beyond, but I don't believe it, it's not a force main, it's a gravity main.
Okay.
But again, just, there's obviously a lot of interest in this.
Yeah.
This is our continuance of the township's obligation, and that's why we're at a decision point this evening. You
Yeah,
know, regarding the development and the previous agreements.
It would be a lovely site for a solar field. Thank you.
We get a motion to close the first public portion.
Oh, I did have one other thing, I'm sorry. If you don't mind.
Huh?
I forgot. I know I talked to you about the solar before, so I'm not going to go into great detail. My only concern is the zone that was chosen. If the point is not to rip down the trees, as Cindy was saying, that zone is completely wooded except for what Fazio tore down. And I don't know if you've looked at aerial maps of that site. It just seems an odd zone. Plus, the ordinance doesn't allow larger than 20 acres. So I'm not sure what you're trying to address, because the MLUL that says it's a beneficial use is for solar farms of 20 acres or more. So you're sort of hitting a zone that, it's almost like, I'm not sure who's going to build something of the size that you're allowing. It seems like this whole solar ordinance is just telling everyone they're going to need a variance and directing all solar projects to the zoning board, because there's just nothing in this ordinance would be handled at the planning board based on the limitations for backyard systems that are not on your roof, and based on the limitations for being in the commercial. So it doesn't address what we're really concerned about, which is, and which was at that zoning board meeting, which is getting the right zone for these larger farms, or are we just trying not to have any larger than?
You gotta be in the right area, obviously, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't know if anybody watched the meeting for the zoning board where Mr. Borelli spent a lot of time making his case and said to the applicants that there could be a case made for the light manufacturing zone, which is Meredith Farms, I believe. And there's one in the Pinelands, and there's also one, part of that zone is up near Clayton, I believe. That zone makes a much better case, and a case could be made for these type of solar farms going in that zone. There really isn't much case for, they said there was no case basically for the business zone. They turned it down. They have to go back for a variance. I think if someone came to interchange commercial to the zoning board, it would be the same argument, that there isn't industrial uses there.
You'll be hard pressed to see them come over there because there's no electrical infrastructure over there.
Over where?
Over on Fazio's property. There's just there's no electric over there. They need to get to the transmission lines, and there's really no transmission lines without spending an enormous amount of money to transfer the power out of the solar farm to the transmission system.
And is the Gruchowski family farm on Fry's Mill any different?
I would say that's a lot closer than what you would be looking at the property, Meredith Farms, or the Fazio property. It's not just the power lines, it's got to be, transmission, probably 34,000 volts and above.
Okay, and the line that runs down 40, like I live on 40, and when the power goes out, we're one of the first ones. They know it goes down in Williamstown immediately because we have much larger poles and much larger lines running along 40. So I don't know if those are the size lines you need or not.
No, it's the big stuff.
Okay, well, I do have the same concerns about the interchange commercial zone, and the loss of trees really affects the quality of life of the residents. And when we did the master plan, we should have put in a vegetative buffer along that. And if you read books about good planning to keep the town rural, it would have included that. So hopefully when we do the master plan, we can include a buffer to help those people who live anywhere near 55. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to close the first public portion?
I make a motion, we close the first public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve correspondence and reports?
I make a motion to approve correspondence and reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve minutes from April 26, 2022?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the bill list?
I make a motion to approve the bill list.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deacon?
Yes.
Mrs. Pech Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Fleeney?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Resolutions, can I get a motion to approve resolution R 7922, appointing Gina Hayes, Human Resources Coordinator?
I make a motion to approve R 7922.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deacon?
Yes.
Mrs. Pech Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Fleeney?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes.
Mayor, I would request that you offer to table 80 and 81, and I will revise and resubmit.
Can I get a motion to table resolution R 8022 and R 8122? Do I have to do them separate?
Now,
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
They'll be tabled. Can I get a motion to approve R 8222, authorizing the CFO to refund an application and escrow fees in the amount of $1,150 to Michael Stocklos?
I make a motion that we approve R 8222.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deacon?
Yes.
Mrs. Pech Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Fleeney?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve R 8322, approving emergency temporary budget?
I make a motion that we approve R 8322.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Deacon?
Yes.
Mrs. Pech Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Fleeney?
Yes.
Mayor Bruno?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve R 8422, approving the contract for water filtration system for the Meredith Farms project in the Township of Franklin?
I just want to add that in light of this, I would not make a motion due to the fact that as we start to enter a water filtration, I believe it's going to ruin the integrity of a rural community as well as an increase in cost to the township that I don't think we're ready to incur at this time.
Hearing no motion.
hearing no motion, it would fail.
Fails. Should be. Take a motion to introduce the following ordinances. Public hearing will be on May 24th, 2022. First one is O-1222, amending Chapter 253, Energy Conservation of the Code of the Township of Franklin.
Make a motion to introduce O-1222.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to introduce O-1322, amending Chapter 253, Land Development, Article, man, help me out here. 23, IC,
Like the Super Bowl.
This ain't the Super Bowl. Interchange commercial.
I make a motion that we introduce O-1322.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, can I get a motion? Again, that public hearing will be on May 24th, 2022. And can I get a motion to open the second public portion for any comments?
Make a motion to open the second public portion.
A second.
Cindy Merckx, 330 Oak Avenue. Thank you for voting that down. There will be information, well, we're not moving it forward. We're not moving it forward, thank you. Also, well, the information regarding what was, I guess, the big secret, what was in the well, and all that kind of, will all that information be available to the residents?
Yeah, I think it's all
I think we'd, I mean, I know we would appreciate it.
So, it's not good, but I couldn't tell you anything else.
I'm sure it is, and I know, but I think it eases our mind knowing, that what is there for us, and we invested a lot of time and energy, a lot of residents did, for a lot of years, and I think we need to know. So, anyway, that was one thing I wanted to thank you for that. And, Mayor, I know it's your expertise about electric, because you put all your life in this. You said that Fazio could not hook into an electric
There's
where
not-
where he's located?
They can, but you gotta take it. You gotta, from the solar, wherever you put your solar farm, they like to build where there's transmission lines, it's big tower lines.
I know that.
Big wires, they wanna be close to that.
But do you know how close they are on Oak Avenue to the property that he just purchased from Mr. Brandt?
That might not.
It even has a monopole. I know it's PSE&G and you work for Atlantic Electric, but I'm just telling you that it is very close there. That's all right. It's residential, but that one section is on the interchange. And that's where, like I said, these maps that we've done for years, I think it just has to be looked at. It's all my concern is. There's a lot of housing there. When I moved there was 5 of us on a dirt road. There's 150 homes out there now. And there's drainage problems and all kinds of things. But like I said, I just know what he did with the one property, and it could be the same kind of mess. But I didn't mean to. I know that's your expertise. You've retired from it and spent a lot of years. So,
Keyword.
thank you again.
Is the town planning on having another land sale?
It's being looked at.
Okay,
We're looking at that right now.
any idea around what time of the year it might actually happen?
Bless you.
Mayor, we are constantly reviewing the inventory, and we're hoping to do it in short order. And there's a lot involved, but we're hoping to have it for introduction of an ordinance within the next 2 or 3 meetings.
Okay, thank you.
That's our goal. It's just, there's a lot of properties and there's a lot of things that need to be reviewed and a lot of people involved, but absolutely within the calendar year, for certain.
Okay.
Well, hopefully within the calendar year as soon as possible.
Okay, so it's not likely to occur before maybe July or so?
Excuse me. If we hit every milestone, July would be the earliest
Okay, good
that
to
the
know.
auction itself would occur.
Right, yeah, because the auction doesn't give a lot of time from bidding to actually coming up with the purchase money. So, need to
So
plan
early
accordingly.
July would be if everything went perfectly.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Renee Pistoli, Leopardi, 2787 East Grand Avenue. Heather, just curious, you voted down to have a deputy chief because your questions weren't answered.
Yeah, I had a few questions during the interview process. I did not sit in on the interviews at all. I was privileged to the information that was given from the Deputy Chief DeCesari, but I did have some questions that nobody could answer for me. So at that point, I just didn't feel comfortable saying yes.
Are you able to divulge what them questions were?
I would be happy to have a conversation with you on the side, yes.
Because my question would be, now that we have a deputy chief, which was never in the budget before, now it increases some salaries, including the current chief, because of the salary ordinance, the way it rolls. So how have we prepared for that?
Well, your assumption.
That was not an assumption.
Well, okay. Do you know what the salary of the deputy chief's gonna be? Do you know what it is?
I don't need to know what his is.
If you know what it is, why does it equate to more money for Brian?
Because he is, well, you were a
Okay,
former police
I'll tell you
officer.
what it is.
He's,
I'll tell you what it is. $1 more than the captain. $1.
where,
So you wanna do the math real quick? I'll be willing to pay the difference.
Jake, why do you get so hostile?
Because, like,
I'm a resident, I pay
you're a resident, I
taxes.
answered your question. If you feel it was hostile, then I
It is
apologize.
hostile. You're attacking. I asked a question.
I'm not attacking you. I
And
told
apparently
you
it
asked
was,
the question, I gave you an answer. Did I
whoa,
not?
time out. You don't get to talk back to me that way. I don't, you do not.
I mean, you answered the
Listen,
question.
you have talked to many people in a very downgrading, and I've laughed at a lot of different times. This time, no. The way we are right now, with people losing houses, people can't afford their mortgages, people can't afford rent, people can't afford their bills. There's all kinds of programs out there to help these people, and yet we are adding to things. Brian is now, I didn't even know he was retired, and he's collecting while he's retired. and we have somebody else put in. He's staying home. He's getting paid for everything he has on the books. He's retired, per se. Is he coming in?
He's using the sick days or the days.
Which is a whole lot of sick days that the taxpayers, again, you got to just check around. Yeah, I mean, just start looking around. And Jake, I'm sorry, but you're disrespect.
You don't need to be sorry.
You're a mayor,
Don't be sorry.
and I'm just a taxpayer, and I'm just the only one. I mean, check around, seriously. And there's a ton of programs out there that Franklin Township should be letting residents know on, helping with rental assistance, helping with getting their utilities paid, helping with getting their houses fixed up, helping with first-time home buyers. It's out there, and they don't know about it.
Thank you.
Sorry. He's just not.
Can I get a motion to close the second public portion?
I make a motion to close second public portion.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Committee reports? Tim?
I have nothing.
Dave?
Yes, I have a couple topics. Saturday, the Senior Advisory Committee put on a fundraiser at the community center, and the top attraction was Elvis. And I had the opportunity to stop down there and see a little bit of it, and the gentleman did a wonderful job of his Elvis impersonation. And I think all of the residents had a wonderful time that attended. There had to be 100 plus that were there. So I want to compliment the senior advisory team for that, and job well done. The other thing is that the library will close this coming Saturday at their normal closing time, and then be closed for the next 4 weeks. Wow. And it's all part of the remodel down there. All the books and everything has to be removed from the facility so that the painters, the electricians, and the carpet people can get in there to do the work, and they're estimating it will take a 4-week period. So the first week will be packing up the books, moving the books out, disassembling some of the fixtures, and then the painters, electricians, and the carpet people come in after that, and then there'll be a week of putting everything back together. So again, there'll be something put out on the township website announcing that, so that, but I wanted everyone to be aware of it. It's going to be closed for 4 weeks. There will not be curbside pickup because the product is going to be removed from the facility. So we won't have the ability to do curbside pickup. So, thank you.
Heather?
So I did attend the JIF meeting, and it's very enlightening to see like how the COVID has affected and will continue to affect in their projections with the township, and how to just be cautious of the environment and going forward. I also wanted to pay my respects to John Oberg. I had the pleasure of working with him when he had a knee replacement at Betty Bacharach back many years ago. And he's a special guy, very special, deep in the hearts of many here in Franklin Township, and will forever remain in our hearts. So my full-fledged sympathy goes out to that family and their loved ones, as well as our community, because to many he wasn't just a coach, he was a dad, he was a player, he was a person on the field, and he's one of our forefathers here in Franklin Township. So that with my deepest sympathy going out to that family. It's all.
I'd also like to send my prayers and condolences to the Oberg family. And also I'd like to send my prayers out to Lee Gonzalez's family as his anniversary has just passed us. On another note, I'd like to send my congratulations out to Matt on being deputy chief. I was only able to visit with the economic meeting for a little bit before I had to skedaddle out of there. And other than that, I hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day, and I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary. I have nothing, so. Get a meeting to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.